Edward Lewis has become one of the most successful and respected magazine publishers in the country since founding Essence magazine more than 4 decades ago. The magazine, initially targeting black women, is now widely read among all backgrounds, and he is the author of The Man from Essence. And it is an honor, sir, to have you on this program. Thank you for coming by.
Thank you for having me.
Nice to meet you.
Yes.
Boy, the publishing industry is a challenging one, and it certainly was even in 1970 when you started. So you didn't have much of a background in it. Why did you target a demographic that I imagine the first challenge was to convince Madison Avenue that black women had buying power?
No doubt about it. There was just the other women's magazines not dealing with the beauty, intelligence, and aspirations of black women. So the idea of bringing a magazine that would celebrate her beauty was an idea whose time had come. And I came together with my 4 partners, 4 black men, who wanted to start something, do something very meaningful for our community in celebrating black women. So that's why we came into the marketplace, because the other women's magazine were not doing their job. Okay,
so when you started having conversations with advertisers, what were those conversations like at Madison Avenue? Because we watch Mad Men, which was only a few years earlier than 1970, and I could see these conversations not going very well.
The first issue of Essence, we had 13 pages of ads, and then June and July, we had 5 pages each. So you can well imagine trying to tell the story, trying to convince them of a market that was so important because how black women were perceived: uncouth, loudmouth, unfeminine, didn't have money, and poor on no welfare. So we had to craft a strategy that talked about the buying power, how she's a striver, how important she is as a decision-making within our community, and that's what we had to overcome.
Did you get pushback from black men at all in this process?
No, we did not. And in fact, we got a lot of support from black women. And I've often been asked, why don't you start a magazine for black men? Black women read in general.
And by the way, women had the buying power in the households. And it took advertisers a while to realize that, but they certainly do.
They are definitely decision makers.
I understand Hugh Hefner was an investor in this magazine.
Yes, he did.
How did that happen?
He made the investment in us in 2000, $250,000, and he really made a business decision about investing in the magazine because he understood, starting Playboy, who was reading Playboy, a significant number of black men. So he concluded that if black men are reading Playboy, there must be an opportunity for black women to have their own publication in which they would be supportive and would read too.
How did the magazine's focus change over the years and you be able to keep up with the times of the readership that you were targeting?
I give big kudos to all the editors-in-chiefs who have been a part of the Essence story. And we started out as a one-dimensional fashion magazine, and then we quickly realized that black women are multidimensional. She's got a wealth of information that she wants to have, and so we've evolved into a women's service, lifestyle-oriented magazine.
And strong journalism as well, that's in the magazine.
I feel most proud of how we have dealt with issues, apartheid, AIDS, abuse in terms of between men and women. And so we've taken on these issues, and which I think is important because women want to know about these things. We never wanted to condescend to our reader. And so we felt that we should address these things editorially.
When you wrote this book, what are some of the things that you learned about yourself and the magazine that you did not know until you started putting it on paper?
Well, you know, it's trying to think about all the things that happen with respect to putting this together. It's an extraordinary journey. I came to have an appreciation of my relationship with my dad, which I didn't have, which I recounted, which I thought was important. Certainly, my sheroes in my family were my mother, my grandmother, and my aunts, and that gave me the sensitivity to have an appreciation, hopefully, in terms of how I interacted with women, and understanding the importance of, even more so, of cash. Cash is king, queen, jack, and everything else.
And conserving cash and spending
and conserving cash because it's so important.
And speaking along those lines, how does the publishing industry survive today? What is it doing? Is Essence doing the right thing and surviving?
Essence is doing the right thing and surviving very nicely. I just returned from New Orleans. We did celebrated the 20th anniversary of the Essence Music Festival, 550,000
Well, what
people.
you've done is you've expanded the brand also beyond just the publication.
Indeed. And one must remember, too, magazines and newspapers may not be making as much money as they once did 10 years ago. They're still making a lot of money.
They're still generating a lot of cash.
And
they still have the brand,
business.
whether you read it online or whether you read it in
Indeed.
print.
It's about brands.
Edward Lewis, the man from Essence, creating a magazine for black women. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Coming up on Arise, ahead, one thief who stole nearly $500,000 in loose change. He's our favorite person of the day, and he's next. You're watching Arise Exchange.